Welcome to Vendée Live. It is Friday the 20th of December and we've been racing for 40 days. And the front of our fleet have passed Point Nemo, the ocean pole of inaccessibility, the point in the ocean that's furthest from any landmass on Earth. And the fact, the closest person to you is in the International Space Station. So in the news, the Southern Ocean has not been that quiet. Sam Davies passed a cruise ship while travelling to Antarctica. And Antoine Cornick actually passed a sailor, a Norwegian sailor who'd been at sea for 110 days. And it was his dream to sail around the world. And as you can imagine, both solo sailors had quite a long chat and quite a lot to say. Antoine's also been replacing a autopilot ram. And we also have Justine Metro, who has replaced her watermaker to her spare. But we've just had new news that Oliver here on board Toot Scoot also has a recent issue.
What you can see here is my big hydraulic ram that moves the keel around. And this is the reservoir. And the reservoir is pretty much empty, meaning I'm losing a lot of hydraulic fluid. Unfortunately, inside the boat around the ram, there is no oil anywhere, meaning it can only leak through the piston seal, which, the oil drains straight into the water through the keel box.
So that means for Ollie, he's going to be compromised when he's on a port tack, but it hasn't stopped him sailing and racing, and I'm sure he'll be looking at what other means he can do. I'm delighted to say today I'm joined by two wonderful guests. My first guest is Damian Foxall, an extensive sailing career with huge success, winning the last edition of the Ocean Race on, in fact, the boat that Sébastien Marsset is racing, and now a clear ocean advocate and a sustainability consultant. So, Damian, welcome. Thank you for joining me on Vendée Live.
Hi, Dee, and hello, everyone. Thank you for having me on.
It's good. I'm also joined by Déborah Pardo. She is let me get this right. She is an environmental speaker and an impact scientist. Déborah, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
Hello, everyone.
Now, Déborah, just while we've got you, your specialism is Albatross. Why is that so special? Why are they special to you?
Yes, so I've done my PhD on Albatross. Yes, that's a job. And my PhD thesis was on how albatrosses cope with age. And last week, we got a news that the oldest albatross, the oldest bird known on this planet, laid an egg at 74. They're the biggest birds on Earth, so they live very long as well. And after that, I worked at the British Antarctic Survey studying albatrosses' decline because they're the most endangered bird family in the world as well, at the British Antarctic Survey in Cambridge. And I'm super happy to be able to tell you their story today.
Excellent. Well, it's something that a lot of our skippers are seeing, and we are delighted to say that Seb Marsset is joining us. We can currently see on the chart his position. He's in 23rd place, and he's just south of Australia, running along the edge of the ice gate in a huge battle. Seb, how is life on board Foxall?
Hi, Dee. Hi, everyone. Life is great. Life is great on board Foxall. I had it's nighttime right now, and I had like one of the better day of sailing since I left Les Sables d'Olonne. Like blue sky. It was almost trade winds, but in the Southern Ocean. Like really nice day of sailing today. So everything is fine.
Oh, that is wonderful. Do you know what? I'm just really delighted we're seeing you without a toolbox in your hand, because you've had endless repairs today. You've repaired your hydraulics on your birthday and you repaired your hydro generator. So do you feel you've actually had a day where you could concentrate on sailing your boat?
Actually, yeah, I've been sailing my boat. I also have been preparing the repair I'm going to do when the wind is going to die, like in a couple of days, because I've got a lot of chafing in my mainsail. So at one stage, I'm going to need to drop the main and add some patch to avoid too much chafe. Yeah, you know, I'm sponsored by a brand which is selling tools. So it's part of my job to work with tools, actually. But no, I've been a bit unlucky with the hydraulics. but that's life, and I'm really happy everything is fine now and all is sorted out.
Well, they say that the Vendée Globe is just one problem every day if you're lucky. So you're certainly doing your fair share of that. You'll be pleased to know I'm joined by Damian Foxall, a fellow ocean race sailor, and he's going to say hi to you and ask you a question.
Hi, Seb. Just first of all, I mean, I think we're all very proud of and happy for what you're doing. It's absolutely amazing. And I guess my question for you, which might be interesting for those listening, is what's the experience difference for you? I mean, you're now a very experienced sailor. We've worked together a lot on various campaigns. I know you've sailed around the world in a crewed format. So for you, the experience sailing around the world first time single-handed, and you're doing amazing. Do you want to just sort of describe the difference between those two experiences? And it's amazing just to see how fresh and in good form you are. But how are you managing to do that on your own? And how is that different to your past experiences on around the world events?
Hi, Damian. I'm really pleased to talk with you. It's yeah. It's so the main difference is managing the whole race, like especially when things goes wrong. I've decided to sail my own race, not looking too much at my opponent, a little bit of course, but not too much. But I'm sailing the way I feel I should be sailing, rather than sailing against another one. And this includes sailing, trying to avoid breakage, for example. So I'm trying to sail fast, but easy. And that's the main difference with crew sailing, that when you're gonna push harder every true wind angle, every true wind speed you're gonna find, you can be on a tight angle, you can push on the gear a lot more. If you do that on your own, you can do it, but at one stage it's going to break, and when it breaks, it's going to cost you a lot. So that's how I'm trying to manage my race, like sailing fast, but on the smooth mode. And I think I can see the difference compared to some of my opponents who broke a lot, broke ribs from the boat, broke rudders, broke sails. I still have my full set of sails. I've got an 100% boat right now. So I would say that's the main difference for me right now. And also being alone on the boat, for sure. no one to talk to is.
I was just going to ask you about that, Seb. 40 days now, being on your own. Are you finding it lonely, or are you actually at peace with your own little 60-foot world?
I felt like yesterday that I was in an unknown area. I've been on my own during 20, 21 days, something like this. And so I broke the records for sure. And I felt yesterday that it was something new. And so I'm listening a lot of music, listening podcasts, and I think it gives me a bit of company on board. But no, to be honest, I feel great, but I feel that it's a new experience for me.
Well, we did notice on a video that you sent that you found some little friends, some little krill friends. Have you had any other life that you've enjoyed seeing, like birds or albatross at all?
Yeah, I for sure there is plenty of birds. That's crazy, and it's really amazing to look at. I actually listened to a podcast about albatross. Like there is a big. I'm not the specialist online about albatross, but I'm curious about albatross, and I've listened this podcast about Amsterdam Island being like a place where albatross are living very much. So no, the krill, the albatross, and no, I'm enjoying also the colors and all they're really special. The day lasts so long, and the light is going up and down really slowly. that it gives you really special colors, and the cold also gives them an atmosphere specific. It's a bit like when you're at the mountain, but you're offshore in the Southern Ocean.
Well, as a special treat for you, Seb, your wishes are my command. I actually have a specialist in Albatross with us on the show, Déborah Pardo, and she can probably tell you a little bit about Albatross. Have you got a question for her?
Yeah, actually, because I listened to this podcast, and there is different species of albatross. Some of them are really big, some others are really small, or are smaller, from what I understood. And I would be curious to know what are the main species I can cross in the Southern Ocean.
Déborah, over to you. Perfect.
Yes. So, hi, Seb. There are 22 species of albatross in the world today. About 18 live in the subantarctic. And you have two big families of birds in the subantarctic. The ones that have a 3.5 meters wingspan, that's about 12 feet, if I'm not wrong. And but it's really hard to see when you see them at sea. And the second ones, they have about 2.5 meters wingspan. So a bit smaller, but still huge, like 3 times the seagulls we have here in Marseille. And they are super adapted to fly without spending any energy because they have a system to block their wings open, like an umbrella, with their tendons, and they can fly for thousands of kilometers without spending 1 ounce of energy. So I love that this alignment of their wings, for me, it's really a symbol of what we can do in our life to be aligned, because the albatross, they have this dynamic soaring flight. They will go against the current, against the wind to keep height. So taking this height for us is like reflecting on the right cape to take, and then they turn around and they use their speed from the height and from the right direction that they choose. And if you see them next time, maybe try to spot this dynamic soaring and this alignment of their wings that is so thin when you see them from the front. That is, for me, a symbol of what we humans should do to align our lives, sometimes go against the current to gain the height to make the right decision. And as you're being on the boat right now, it means you're following your dreams, you're being aligned to your values. And I'm not sure everyone on the planet is actually capable of following their dreams that much.
Well, there you go, Seb, your own private albatross.
Yeah, thank you very much. I've got thank you very much. I will try to look at them better. Is it true that they are flying all the way around the world when they are teenagers, and when they are adults, they settle down on an island and have children? Is it true, or is it a fake?
No, it's true. They have, so they will go away from the colony where they're born at about 3 months for the smallest one and 9 months for the biggest ones. And they will stay at sea for around 10 years. It's really hard to study them at this point because when you put a device on them, they have to come back for you to get the data, unless it's an Argos, but it's much more expensive. And so they come back where they were born, and they will find a mate for life and make 1 chick every year for the small ones and every second year for the biggest ones. And they will share the duties with their mate for life. So the male will go at sea, find some food and come back. Sometimes they fast for 3 weeks on the nest. And no, it's totally true. And when they take a sabbatical year, so after a breeding season for the biggest one, they will fly around Antarctica in about 40 days. So pretty much more fast than humans can do today.
Try to beat the albatross then.
Well, that's right, Seb. I feel that you're part albatross now. You left Le Sable d'Olonne, you're going to come back from Le Sable d'Olonne, and you're going to make the best decisions ever. I want to thank you for your time today, Seb. Thank you for joining us. It's been lovely to talk to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's great. Now, somebody that worked really hard to move up into a chasing pack currently in 8th position is Boris Herrmann. We can see his position on the chart. And I had the opportunity to talk to him this morning and see if it's all about timing in his race. Is he positioning himself to make his final challenge?
Yeah, now is my time to shine. Maybe we have now a week of strong downwind conditions, difficult conditions, and that's what this boat should be strong at. And we try. I try to exploit the boat as best as possible over this week until the Horn and show a bit of its potential. Although I'm quite astonished how difficult the sea state and the irregular winds make it to keep good average speeds. At the moment, the speeds go up from 12 to 35 knots. Sometimes the boat stops in the wave, and then it goes on a crazy surf. So at the moment, it's not the easiest, and it will be only getting more difficult the next 36 hours.
Is Cape Horn possibly the best Christmas present you're going to get this year?
Yeah, that would be amazing. I like to go close to the Horn and through the Le Mer to see land and have this little spectacular moment of seeing land. That would be amazing. But for sure the weather will change from here to then.
So it sounds like you're going to be looking forward to saying goodbye to the Southern Ocean and hello to warmer waters.
Well, yes, that's such an amazing contrast and transition. That's a huge joy to feel the warmth. That's going to be amazing, but I mean, it's just perfect. One more week until the Horn, and then we see probably 2-3 days until it gets warmer. It might be actually a bit tough after the Horn. We have all seen that in the past. The week after the Horn can be almost tougher or very tough as well. We will see. Then when we get milder conditions, milder winds, this first moment when you go on deck and soak in the warmth and unfurl a bigger sail, that's just an amazing relief, and I'm really looking forward to that, that's for sure.
That was Boris there this morning. Damian, you've raced against his boat. It is a certain specific machine built to fly in the right conditions. And as he said, this may be his time to shine.
No, absolutely. I think just there are a few of the more recent boats who've made the similar type of choices that Boris had previously made, but just looking back into the previous Crude World Race, that boat was very clearly so much easier to sail and therefore faster in those tough, rough, heavy downwind conditions that we get in the Southern Ocean. And we can see that, we can see also with, good timing, being in the right place, but that's even more important when you're shorthanded, to be able to push the boat hard. But as Seb Marsset was previously sailing, to push it smooth. And Boris is the right boat, certainly for the next week all the way up to the Horn.
That's right, and staying smooth is always really tricky. Those further back in the fleet are just leaving the Indian Ocean. They're underneath Australia, about to enter the Pacific, but the conditions are really unstable, as Conrad Coleman found out.
Okay, got it. Back. Come on, there you go. So that's one of the challenges of sailing down here. Is I just said that it was 25 knots and I was about to shake the reef out. And then just as I was thinking that, bam! In comes a gust. As you can see, clear sky, no clouds, no indication that there's anything crazy happening. And then gust comes in at 37, 38 knots. Boat falls over, wipes out. Need to get it back on its feet. So it's a weird place to sail because it's cold. The air is dense, so it's powerful. So you kind of need to sail undercooked, a little conservatively, to leave margin for these little surprises that come along unexpectedly.
So a little illustration of the weather, and this is the weather across the whole fleet. So at the back here, we've got this group riding this low pressure underneath Australia, having really good conditions, but quite unstable, as we saw from Conrad there. This group of foilers there, led by Isabel Josh, has still got the last of the good pressure before these guys that are in this transition and are actually upwind sailing in the Southern Ocean, as we heard from Sam Davies yesterday, much to their dismay. This chasing pack have actually got onto the same low pressure that the front guys are racing and are having those increasing conditions that Boris spoke about as they go forwards. Looking at the front, it's a southwesterly breeze for the front guys, and that's what these guys are coming into, and that's going to increase, and that's going to take them all the way to the Horn. And if we just look at this animation, we can see the back of the fleet as they travel through. It's this area as they enter the Pacific that's a massive transition zone that's going to make everybody take stock, have that chance to repair. But in this, between the Indian and the Pacific, is that confusing no man's land where Benjamin Ferry found himself today.
Voilà. Et juste là, qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Le Pacifique, les amis. L'océan Pacifique. Juste devant. Et ici, l'océan Indien. Pacifique. Océan Indien.
Well, we can look at the rankings here. That front three are starting to spread out. Charlie Dalin dominating there. We've still got this close bunch with Boris Herrmann, Sam Goodchild and Justine Metro staying in that chasing pack. As we go through to the rest of our internationals, Sam Davies is in those upwind conditions, and Isabel Josh and Alan Rora and Giancarlo Pedotti are charging towards them. And then towards the back, we've got this daggerboard fleet where Seb Marsset was, in between the Indian and the Pacific. And then we've got right through from Gierig down to Denny van Weinberg, with the last group having a big push in the Indian Ocean before they get out of there. Now, this morning I spoke to race leader who's extended his lead, put his dominance on the race, and I checked in with him to see if he was happy.
I'm in good shape. I've got a long stretch with no maneuvers, which is good. It's easier to sleep and to recover. Get some energy back. Feeling in good shape after 40 days. The Pacific was pretty good with a bit of sun between the clouds, which is good.
Are you happy being the target for the others to chase?
Really happy to be in the lead. Happy to have a boat in a very good state. I think my boat is very good as well in the Atlantic condition. 3-4 days we should be in the Atlantic, and I'm looking forward to sail this stretch.
So Charlie, you're on record pace.
Well, good news, but in the end, doesn't really matter. If we break the record or not. What's important is to finish first. Well, not to finish first because I did that last time already, but to win. What's important is to win. But breaking a record for a winner would be for the winner would be a cherry on the cake for sure.
Does it feel like this race is going quicker than last time for you?
The North Atlantic was really slow this time around. Since the equator, it's been really, really quick. This time feels a bit more racy. And I always been in a racing mode. I never had to switch to a survival mode or try to get through a low pressure mode. So it's good. It's been racing mode all the way, and that's good.
Very gracious there, Charlie Dalin, acknowledging that although he finished first, he didn't win in the last edition, but he wants to change that. Damian, have you been impressed with his race? It's been flawless, hasn't it?
I think we all are. I mean, it's amazing, really, when you look at the spread of the fleet. 6,000 nautical miles from the first to the last boat. Within that, we've got various different groups and performances within those boats, but the leading pack with Charlie Owen and Sebastian there. It really is incredible knowing what they have to do to push those boats that hard. I think it's really raised the bar for this race.
Definitely. And as these boats are leaving the Pacific back into the safe waters of the Atlantic, the back of the fleet are just entering the Pacific. How hard is that psychologically? And what words of wisdom would you give them to keep going?
Well, I think Sébastien Marsset said it earlier on, his own race. And, I think they clearly are, they're looking at their peers in the immediate waters around them. Each is sort of races within the race. And certainly it's going to be very hard for the boats in the third pack to consider to be able to get back up into the give a challenge to the three leading boats, but you never know. The three leading boats have an amazing run all the way through to Cape Horn. We heard Boris earlier on just talking about the challenges after Cape Horn. It is possible that the first couple of boats may get round and actually get a nice little slingshot up. It depends how quickly they can get there. But Boris quite rightly said, I think for his group, it is quite possible that as that low tracks through south of Cape Horn, that there may be some more difficult conditions for them as they head up towards the Falklands. But otherwise, I think, each boat is in its own race with their groups, whether they're foilers, daggerboarders, or wherever this very particular race has spread this whole fleet over 6,000 nautical miles. It's really is incredible.
Yeah, it's phenomenal, and it's so good to follow. And we really appreciate your time spending with us today to give your insights from your vast experience. Damian, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I couldn't believe, and I didn't plan it, I didn't even speak to him beforehand, but how quick Seb Marsset was to talk about having podcasts on Albatross. And Deborah, you are there ready to answer his questions. How remarkable is that? All our skippers are becoming experts on Albatross. Does that make you proud?
I know. And that's why, so this year, I didn't tell you, but I quit academic research, although I was in my dream job. And I wrote a book that is coming out this year. It's called Deploy Your Life as Albatross. And I'm today a public speaker and a professional speaker for corporates, for leaders of the world, to try and use the symbolism of albatrosses to change the planet, because we are going as humanity in the wrong direction today, entering the sixth mass extinction. And we are not used to live in the uncertainty of the overpassed planetary boundaries that we have designed. So the albatross are, as we said today, super adapted to fly in the harshest environment in the world. So we need to learn from them how they're aligned, how they use their vulnerability against elements, how they use their instinct to make the right decisions, and how they stay in groups for a part of their life and in solitary for another part of their life, how they target their energy to the essential.
Well, I think
that's a lot of messages I wanted to give you today.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect description of a Vendée Globe skipper. And I know for skippers, for us, this Albatross is very symbolic. It's the spirits of those sailors that we've lost at sea that are then there keeping watch over us while we sail. So they're really important to us, which is probably why our skippers are always commenting when they see one.
And you know what? This poem about the souls of the sailors that go on the back of an albatross is actually engraved on a sculpture at Cape Horn. So I hope they will meet even more albatrosses there.
Oh, that's really nice. Deborah, I really want to thank you for your insights today and for answering Seb Marset's questions. That was perfect. And I'm sure we'll see you again, and good luck with your research and your communications on Albatross.
Thank you.
Well, I just want to say this is my final show for this year. It's the festive holidays for me, but I will be back in the new year. The good news is the boss is back. He will be back in the hot seat tomorrow. And his guest tomorrow will be Libby Greenhouse. She's multiple round-the-world sailor, but also a full meteorologist. So she will give you the lowdown on how best to go around Cape Horn. And I'm going to leave you in the meantime with some beautiful images from Damian Segan on board Group Episeal as he launched his drone and he took advantage of the lighter conditions. Thank you and goodbye.